trying to get the right packet here first before I start the meeting. Okay, Amy, just to make sure I'm doing it correctly. There's no script for this meeting, just for the other one, correct?
There is the regular session, but I'm happy to assist through that if you would like.
Please.
As we begin this meeting, Chair Pictionary has asked me to read the instructions, and then he will call the meeting to order. There is one time designated for public testimony this evening under business from the audience. If you are attending in person, please complete your request to speak card located at the front of Jesse Main Room and hand it to me, the city recorder. If you are joining online by tablet, smartphone, or computer and you wish to speak during business from the audience, please raise your hand using the Zoom feature when that item is called. The order of public testimony this evening is any person that is in attendance in Jesse Main, and then anyone who has raised their virtual hand. And we are ready for you, Chair.
Thank you so much, AJ. Appreciate it very much. I'd like to call this CEDA regular meeting to order with roll call, please.
Board Member Van Gordon. Here. Board Member Weber.
Here.
Board Member Moe.
Here.
Vice Chair Rodley.
Here.
Board Member Blackwell.
Here.
Board Member Doyle.
Here.
Chair Pictionary.
Here.
And Board Member Laval. Present.
Next item.
Next item is the consent calendar.
I move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Okay.
Any opposed signify same. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item. Mr.
Next
Ladai.
item under communications is business from the audience.
Is there anybody from the outside that you could see?
Yes, we have a couple.
I'm going to hand the cards to Vice Chair.
Perfect.
And do we want folks to come sit next to Neil? Is that useful? All right, first we have America Ochoa. And if I mispronounced that, please correct me.
Came together with us. Good. Should we come together or just one by one?
One by one, please, since you both did cards. Thank you.
Would you mind passing this one? Thank you. Hello, good evening. My name is America and I am here. We have a homeless ministry. We have been serving the poor here in Springfield for about 6 months. And I'm sorry, I didn't bring it up.
Sorry, it was my fault.
Here's another one too. This is what we do. We provide lunches, socks, hats, drinks, but mostly we wanna help them grow out of their needs. We provide them food, but we also pray for them. We are caring for our neighbors on the streets. And I'm here to ask if Springfield would have a building. We want to open a soup kitchen. And we would provide all the food, all the volunteers. We just need a place. And we're wondering if Springfield has one that we could operate from. I know that I don't know if there's any funding approved by the governor to help the homeless. And I was also here to find out about that. I want to be a gateway where other organizations could come to the soup kitchen and help the homeless with other needs. A lot of people don't approach the homeless because we're afraid. And I was also afraid until I started serving them. I no longer fear them because I see their needs and how hurt they are. So I was thinking if we could provide a safe place where the community could unite with the homeless and we could help them heal from their addiction, from their brokenness, from as a whole person. Do you guys have any questions? Should I keep talking or?
You have a full 3 minutes, but you
Okay.
don't have to use it all.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Do you have a phone number or anything else that goes with this to contact you?
I do have a phone number, but I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. I could write it down in the back. But thank you very much. We go out twice a month, every Saturday from 10 to 2, and we just drive around and we find homeless. And we stop the car, we ask them if they're hungry. And then we ask them if they need prayers. We're from a Catholic church, so that's basically our motivation to help them heal and get out of the streets. Did you know if this city has buildings available? It's 61. So there, it's my telephone number. Sorry about that. Thank you,
America.
Thank you.
And next we have Esther Mori.
You don't respond during that. Good, that's why we're not ignoring you. Just know that. That's specifically not the process.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Esther Mori and I work with America. We are working on the Ministry of the Poor from St. Alice Catholic Church in Springfield. We are serving the hungry people in the streets. We go every other Saturday, twice a month. We provide some lunches and snacks, and also we offer prayers to them. We really would like to find a building where we could serve them on a more regular basis. We are wondering, we have seen a few buildings, empty buildings in Springfield, and we have wondered if there would be any chance that those buildings are owned by the city, if we could use those buildings. I live in Eugene, but I'm a parishioner in Springfield at St. Alice Catholic Church. And so that's why I'm working in Springfield. And I've seen in Eugene, the Mission, Salvation Army, and there's a soup kitchen also, but I haven't seen any in Springfield. I haven't seen any of this type of places or resources for the homeless people in Springfield. And so I would really like to know if there's any way we could find help, a location, a building that we could use with the city of Springfield help. And so that's why we're here, and we really would love to continue serving our neighbors in need. We know there was one church where they were serving lunches in Springfield, and they recently closed that lunch service for the homeless. And so we are doing what we can. We prepare food and we drive around. Sometimes we drive for as long as 3 hours trying to find the homeless people. And we do find them, but scattered around the city for the most part. And so we would really like to concentrate our efforts on one specific area and one specific building or area where we can serve the homeless better and on a more regular basis. So I don't know if there are any questions.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
I'm turning it back over to you, AJ.
Thank you. And I'm gonna work with Neil.
Yeah, we have one hand raised. That person is Michelle Emmons, and Michelle, you should be able to unmute your microphone, and Daphne Mantis is on deck.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can barely hear you, Michelle.
Is this a little bit better?
That's perfect.
Okay. I apologize for the barking dogs in the background. My name is Michelle Emmons. I work with Willamette Riverkeeper, and we have been following the Glenwood Riverfront development for quite some time now. I want to say a huge thanks to Allie Camp for answering all of our concerns and questions. I just wanted to let you all know that we are hoping that as you move forward in your considerations and planning, that you would consider Willamette Riverkeeper as a partner in the front end of your considerations for your conceptual design and development. I want to emphasize that we are not anti-development, that we are actually pro-good development that emphasizes riparian health, water quality protection, and safe, inviting river recreation access. We're also working with Cascadia Wave on the Whitewater Park design and looking forward to fundraising for a feasibility study that would happen on that site, which is just downstream of the Glenwood area. And we're looking to get involved in working with your organization on how to fund that study, but better yet, how we might incorporate some of that design into what's happening at the concept on the riverfront. We're also excited about some of the stormwater innovation plans that could be put into the process for the final outcome on the concept. And we look forward to working in the future to create something that's beneficial not only for growing our economy, but also for ensuring that the community has safe access to the river. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Daphne Mantis. Daphne, you should be able to unmute your microphone.
Hi, I'm Daphne Mantis, and I live on West D Street in Springfield. And I want to address two things. First, I very much support Michelle Emmons' request for a seat at the table regarding the master planning and development planning for Glenwood. I refer the board to the letters from Michelle Emmons and their then staff attorney, Elizabeth Holmes, back in 2021, when this board was in the process of the request for qualifications. I mean, I think the letters, in my opinion, demonstrate Willamette Riverkeeper's stewardship, expertise, and advocacy for the Willamette River corridor, and for their support of public access to the Willamette River. And because the stewardship and access are such basic principles in the Glenwood Refinement Plan, I just urge CEDA to, have their voice at the table. The second thing is I'm going to renew my request for at least a monthly update from the planning as to specifically the outreach part of the process. Several of the tasks, task 5, the preliminary master plan, and task 7, the open house, both of those were to be completed. There was to be a neighborhood meeting happening in the July to September time period. There was to be an open house in October of 2023. And to the best of my knowledge, neither of those events have happened. because this board has repeatedly assured the community that there would be ample opportunity to comment and, you know, there would be ample outreach. I just ask that there be some accountability for these timelines and the events that provide for community input.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Chair Pictionary.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for the comments from the audience. Appreciate that. Next item, Neil.
No public hearings tonight. Your next item is new business. You have two items under new business. Item one is downtown development opportunities. Ally Camp is here for this report.
Thank you.
And actually, Chair, I'm gonna jump in just for a minute, just to tee off our discussion. Because I think we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. We don't often have a chance to be creative and dream. So I just want to briefly put a little bit of sideboards on tonight's discussion about what it is and what it is not. So tonight is really about being creative and thinking about what we really want our downtown to look like. What are some of the amenities? What is the feel? What is the atmosphere? To use Gen Z, what is the vibe when people come downtown? The other part is really tonight, you don't have to we're not gonna make a decision about it. This is just purely a time where the council has to talk about what your vision is. You know, we've spent a lot of time in the past talking about the things that we didn't want in our downtown, right? And now it's the time to talk about some of the things that we would like in our downtown. And this came more to the fore as far as our discussion timeline, because we do have an exclusive negotiation agreement with OB Company. They have a stellar reputation, and one of the ethos of their company is providing a sense of place. So as they were thinking about what might be appropriate here in Springfield, other thoughts, well, how would it fit in with the future? You know, so when you're planning a building, it's kind of nice to think what would be next to it in 5 years, 6 years, whatever, even let's not go that far, one year. So that's kind of the framework for tonight's discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. Two things I want to add to that. So as we envision the future of downtown and the tools CETA has to deliver on the vision that you're after, we have a couple of conversations coming up that I just want to flag for you. On November 27th, so our next CETA meeting, we will talk about CETA owned properties and your all's direction for moving forward with what we own currently. And then at the beginning of January, we'll talk about support for plan eligible projects, financial support for plan eligible projects, coming up with a process for that. So, I'll invite the OB Companies team up to the table now. AJ, did you have some slides? So do we have a clicker for them? While we get your PowerPoint put up, if you all want to take a second to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Great. Brian Obie, President of OB Company. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I very clear Monday night in November. We'll try to warm it up a bit. And I love what Nancy's saying about it. The time to be creative, and time to think forward, and time to think about. And I want to be sure that you're aware that we are aware of the importance of the property that we now have a contract with the city of Springfield on, and that we also look at it as a partnership between the city of Springfield, CETA, and ourselves, because to do the right thing, and that's what we want to do. That's why we're here. We are not interested in just building more buildings or just building apartment houses. We're interested in making a difference in the community we operate in. You know, I've done enough of the other stuff, and I think our culture and our company is that we have a lot of opportunities. We want to make them important. We want to make them special. We want to be impactful in the communities that we work with. That property that is over here between the two museums and facing on Main is very special. And I think it deserves all of our attention, and how we connect it. And we hear your thoughts and other people in the community is important. Because all of you may not know all of our background. I'll take a moment to introduce our company to you. We know a lot of you, and I don't want to bore you in that, but might make it easier. But slide as to the Fifth Street Market, the thing that I would remind you about that, because I hope everybody here's been there and more than once, and enjoyed it. We had this past weekend, you can tell me how thousands of people that we had there, and the rally in the alley, and so many great things. But most of it, we had a lot of kids, we had a lot of families, we had people just enjoying themselves, feeling safe and feeling in a clean place, comfortable place that they can relate to each other. The important part about this market, which is now takes in 6 city blocks, started in this little building down here, and the right has got that red sign on it with 6,000 square feet. So in terms of what we plant, the seed we plant over here, we don't know where that might take us, but we should think about it in terms of where it might take us or could take us. And maybe it takes it where we're at right here. Who knows what it could grow to be and could come to be beyond that. I got to.
Is it going here? Let's see. There we go.
I'm just not technologically capable because I'm the oldest guy in the middle, as you can tell. And so other folks around help me around and lead me around and tell me how to run these things. But what this is all about is a team that is in our company, actually a leadership group of 13 people that are involved in multiple projects at this time. We've had a good fortune of what we've accomplished across the river, has led people to our door, and we have projects in Corvallis and Albany, in Caldwell, Idaho, Boise, and we just spent a week in Tucson, where they've agreed to grant us a block in downtown Tucson to do our thing, whatever that might be. Hopefully the magic, right? As we would hope. But Springfield is important. We've got all the projects, but Springfield is important. It's our town. It's our community. It's where we live. It's where we can get feedback, be part of all of our lives. I'm not sure if the next slide. So this is, I think, is appropriate because this is where the market started. It was very humble. I'm probably the oldest guy, me and Steve, or maybe the only guys around here when it started. And fortunately, we are still around here. And maybe there was a half a dozen tenants and that, but a vision, and that's what it's all about. And that's why we're really, I think, here tonight is talking about vision. And we have invested $250 million of our money and other people's money and community's money to build that and to keep it going. And it's taken a lot of different partners to keep that going. And I wanted at this point to introduce you to Seth Sherry. Seth came with us. Seth has been was the development director of Albany, Oregon, and understands I think that side of the equation, and worked close and part of the renewal agency in Albany, and obviously with the city as well, and now is working with us and has been working with us for several months. We're pleased to have Seth to help lead us along. You'll see him and me relative to this project over the next few years, trying to make this happen in a very important way. It also happens that Executive Vice President of our company, Casey Barrett, lives in Springfield, drives by this site every day, and is intimately interested. Would be here tonight as grandson is in the hospital in Portland. Be back tomorrow, so could not be here, but send him apologize. But he'll be present and very much into this project that we're talking about here. So Seth, I wonder if you want to talk a little more about our background and what's gonna go on here.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Nice to see you all. As Brian noted, I finished about 6 years working with the city of Albany. I feel like I'm in good company here. I manage the TIF district up there as a staff person, and it's really good to be with you. Courtney was a good friend of mine, and Allie is now as well, and I've been tracking downtown Springfield for some time. It was nice to trade thoughts and ideas on how to help encourage growth and development. I think Albany is similar to Springfield in some ways, and it's been fun to see what's happening here. Just recently I got a tour of your downtown and saw a lot of the new development that's going on and the renovations. A lot less vacancy. Things are going well down here. So kudos to all of you for your support of that. Up here on the slide here, you can see in yellow for context, this is the site that we're talking about that Nancy mentioned earlier. I'll zoom in just a little bit. We're obviously very close to that right now. What I thought I could do is talk with you all a little bit about what we think is possible here, what we've envisioned basically, and also get some feedback from you all. As we've been alluding to, we hope to do something special here, not just like a residential project, but something with a little extra, we'll call it, little extra vibes, okay? Let me just say this too, as we jump in here. I thought the Blue McKenzie project was awesome. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but the way development goes is nothing happens till it happens. And maybe given different marketing conditions or a different time, it would have gone forward, and maybe it will in the future. But, as we look at that project, we feel like we can help pick up the torch of the Blue McKenzie project with respect to the goals of your partnership on that project. And just so we're all talking the same terms, let me just harken back to those for a minute. One goal was to create a viable example of new construction type in downtown Springfield. Goal 2, create a market comp for future developments. It's hard to build when you can't borrow because they don't know what you're trying to do. It's nice to have examples. And then thirdly, supporting the residential density. We know firsthand that having people to patronize your shops and restaurants is what's going to make them work. And clearly a lot of opportunity to increase the density of residential density in downtown Springfield. So this site is 21,000 square feet. I don't know what that means to everybody here, but effectively what this could, I think, support in terms of the space and the built-in environment around it is a 4 to maybe even 5-story structure, maybe more, but kind of 4 to 5 stories. Where you're talking maybe 60 to 65 units of residential up there. What's particularly cool, I think, and Brian alluded to this as well, is its proximity not only to City Hall and downtown, but you got the museum and the Arts Center. And we think we could do something pretty cool at a minimum on the ground floor, if not the second story as well. As we've kicked around ideas for what that might be, there's not a real strong, as I understand it, farmers market presence, for example, in downtown. So it's possible we could do a covered area down there with higher ceilings to support, for example, a year-round market. Even if you've been over to the alley, we've got in the 5th Street alley, we've got the Maker's Row. So that's 9 or 10 spaces of about 350 square feet of local artisans. And if you didn't know, that space acts as an incubator, where folks on a fixed rate, they don't have to worry about high rents and a lot of space they can't manage, can get in there and get themselves established. Many of them grow out of that space and continue to get more square footage in the community. So it could be a combination of something like a Maker's Row, covered area for the market. You, I'm sure, have better ideas than we do, and I want to get your feedback on that, but we just let you know we can do a lot. It's actually a pretty large space that could accommodate some pretty neat uses. And then with respect to the second story, whether it's more apartments or maybe a co-working space, maybe a flexible office space of some type if there's specific needs in the community. I know we chatted with Nancy and the mayor about that a little bit ago. We've got some flexibility. So I'll make one note about our development process, and then I'd like to turn the time over to you a little bit to maybe kick around some ideas of what you think might be a good fits there and that we might be able to do together to do something special. The OB development process is a little bit unique. So like I mentioned to you, I worked on the other side of the table, your side of the table with developers for many years. And one thing I appreciated about OB and reason I wanted to come work here, one of the reasons is they take community input pretty seriously. And that's important for a few reasons. But one, you've got businesses and patrons already in the downtown, understanding what they need, want, maybe what they're concerned about. What would be a good fit, may not be a good fit that we may not see, out the outset. But then there's also the folks who aren't coming downtown. What would draw them down and add to the ongoing vitality that it really is growing down here? So getting a feel for literally what the community thinks, what they want, don't want, concerns, questions, and opportunities is really been informative to all of the projects that we've done. And, as Brian noted, we're expanding the development side of the company pretty rapidly right now, looking at lots of different communities, and we don't want to be where we're not wanted. And, you're never going to have unanimous feelings on development, but by and large, understanding what fits and what's desired is going to add to the success of not only our project, but the whole downtown. So with that in mind, I think we'd love to get some ideas from you as you start to think about this. I don't have a rendering here for you. We've got an open map to think about. Curious where your minds go on this.
I might pick up on that just a minute. Talk about some of the things I see, the connection that I believe is important. Certainly I want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the mayor who has been urging us along here for over a year, and Nancy's inspirations to get us involved here, which I appreciate a lot, and it really does is heartwarming and also creates an obligation on our part to do what is right. What has really intrigued me about this site is its connection. Its connection, its connection to the community, because it is the heart of the community. It is located at the heart of the community. So we need to take that serious. We can build on that, or it can go away. We can't build a bunch of this here and really create a center of the community. We've got to create a magnet of some sort, something that sets this apart, that makes this a special place. It is special in some way because of the connection to Main. Obviously, the Main Street, as it is, runs through town, a huge connection. The city hall and the library and what it has become, another great connection of how we can utilize it. The parking underneath is so important, and we've been encouraged by the mayor and that relative to the opportunity perhaps to utilize that, and then the connection of the museum and the art. Somehow we got to bring that all together and create something here that is the center of Springfield. That is the center of Springfield. And I don't know what that is yet. We'll find out together what that is. It might be a fountain, a plaza. It may be many things. It may be things that change from the farmer's market to an entertainment venue to something. But that's what we want to explore, and that's what we're about. And we're going to need help, assistance along the way without question. It is today. Almost every developer I know, except one, would say it's impossible to build today. The cost of money and the cost of construction make it difficult. But I can also tell you these other communities that we're involved in, which are mostly supported, where we're being economically supported with the renewal agencies, we're making some things happen. And so we don't give up on things happen. We also are fortunate to have a lot of partners, investors that believe in these communities and want to play a part in that. So we think we can make them happen, but it's going to take us, it's going to take City of Springfield and the renewal agency needed to in fact make that happen. But we have to, I think we want to spend some time here in the community and bubble up the ideas and the collaboration of how we can create this center post here, the magnet, if you will, or the recognition that, yeah, that is where we're at. City Hall is right there. Those kind of things. So just wanted to bring that up. That's what we're going to be looking for, how to make that happen. What Seth said about the farmer's market, and that is huge. That is huge if we can create a farmer's market once or twice a week. That really can bring people to the center. And I think we can. Working together, we can. And certainly Allie's been a huge help. And we're going to put her to work if we do a farmer's market on there. It takes a lot of work to make those things happen. So we can do that. So if I'm the, it goes up. High
Thank you.
horse.
You probably didn't recognize this old person on the screen, did you?
I can't see anything. No, I didn't. And you back my head, Joe. So you can't recognize me either. Thank you.
Yes. Many, many years ago we met. So I would like to just do around the table to see if the board members have any comments or questions, and I can go ahead and if I can start with Victoria and work our way down. Do you have any comments, questions, Victoria?
Sure. I personally love what you've done in Eugene. I just think it's phenomenal. I really want one of those handhelds. I want an ice cream shop like that. And a taco place like at the top of the Gordon. But one of the things I've thought about with downtown is I do love the entertainment center but when we do our block parties, the coolest thing is that we block off the street and people can walk around. And I've often thought, and I think it's difficult because of ODOT, because this isn't just Springfield Street, but having it be a closed off street. So that is a whole open area. It's not just, so people aren't driving the cars in one way, so that traffic would go to the other side where we only have a one-way going into Springfield, and make that a two-way so that it splits there instead of up at 19th. That's something that I've thought about opening that up, because then that would also provide that opportunity of having, we don't have a Whole Foods or a Market of Choice, someplace where we can buy organic foods and stuff like that. So it's kind of a neat idea where you could utilize it for multiple things. And it probably would need a cover though, like they have at what's the place where they always have concerts by Autzen Stadium? Cuthbert, yeah, it's kind of got that cover, but that's way bigger. But anyway, the street thing is a big thing for me, is if there was any way, I was on the board, the council in Cottage Grove, and one of the things that we did when I was down there was put that big arch up that said that, that it's an all-American city.
Yeah.
And so this would be, and it's like a hallmark.
Yeah.
Once we lost the big barn that had the pellets sign on it, we needed something else. And so that banner is really cool, and it could be historic Springfield. And again, I heard that that's been brought up before, but with the ODOT thing, it's caused problems. But anyway, if I was dreaming, that's what I would have, is something that really led people into downtown Springfield.
Thank you, Victoria. Michelle?
Sure. I really like the incubator comment. That's what Public House started as.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we've had a lot of successful businesses, come from that, expand out into other buildings. And so I would really like to kind of keep that thought
That's very,
process
that's very doable.
in the mix.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Steve, do you have any comments?
Too much history, but I won't talk about that. This is downtown, and this is an economic development hub. And we need to keep that in mind. Everybody's gonna want to do public stuff, and everybody don't generate anything unless it's businesses next to it. But I like to see commercial stuff, small stuff that's flexible, and maybe some professional stuff on the next floor than housing quarters on above. And then all the businesses would feed it. They would go back and forth. It would just be a nice center. It was Alexander's department store when I grew up, and What Price Hardware, and it burned out with the Emporium, and then they built City Hall.
Yeah.
But that went away. But this is an opportunity to do that again, much better. But like I said, I don't want to lose track of the economic development process potential of that.
Thank you, Steve. Beth?
Yeah, this is just super exciting. I love the thought of a farmer's market or a plaza type scene. It's so exciting just to go downtown now, having been born and raised here when we didn't go downtown as a kid.
Right.
Spending time. And now my husband and I spend like 2 or 3 nights a week downtown. We know all the servers by name, and we just love it. We hang out and I see, families and kids and everyone just walking around, and during the, on the weekends, walking up and down the streets, and it's wonderful. And we just enjoy it so much. So to see something like this is just, it just makes me so excited inside and so happy. And I think that, seeing a plaza, I agree with Victoria, what she says. We've talked about that. My husband and I have talked about like the whole street thing, and we've heard about the ODOT. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I think that would be so interesting to be able to do that or even make it a two-way there. And it's funny that you said to think about Cottage Grove because I was just down there on Friday and we looked at that arch and I was like, that's so great. And when you come in from Eugene into Springfield, you know, you're routed to South A. And so you don't really come into, our downtown and see it. And so to see something like that, a big arch would be really cool, some kind of welcoming thing there. But my immediate head, when he started talking about a plaza, was like, Oakway has their tree light thing for Christmas. And I started thinking about like a tree lighting thing, we have our parade and how cool would that be? Fountain would be cool, but something, I think a Christmas tree lighting event. Of course, I love music, live music concerts, having something covered would be amazing. And then might be laughed at, but I've always wanted a rooftop bar in Springfield. I think rooftop bars are so cool.
Like the Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really
Everyone likes a
cool.
rooftop bar.
Yeah.
So whatever that's worth.
There you go.
Thank you, Beth. Excuse me. Corey?
The drinking, I like that idea.
So similar to Counselor Weber, I love the idea of an incubator space, and that's always been one of my favorite things about the public house is that, these restaurants come and get a start, get a following, and then end up, in their own buildings. I love the idea of an incubator space. And thinking about the farmer's market, I think is great, and also a space that could be an event space. And maybe we're talking about that a little bit with a plaza, but having an indoor space that could be used, for events would be fantastic. And when we're talking about housing, and I know that there are challenges on multiple levels, but I would love to see condos that could be purchased downtown because we don't have that kind of, yes to rental housing, but condos downtown would be fantastic. And I can't help but think about, what's missing. And we had somebody earlier talk about, we don't have a pharmacy downtown and, just thinking about the kind of businesses that would really make it, this livable sense of place for folks. But condos are big on my list of what I'd like to see in downtown Springfield.
Thank you, Corey. Sean?
These are all really cool ideas. I came back to the event space. If you poll most people in businesses or community groups, we are challenged always to find event space from the biggest convention center all the way to the smallest back room in a restaurant. I think there's a real opportunity for additional event space. When I think about this space specifically, I always imagined just, being able to sort of open up the space between the art center and the museum so that you could, sort of walk in the sidewall of those two areas and take advantage of the fact that you're at the sort of cultural epicenter of the city. I think some of these other ideas are absolutely fantastic. Just anything that's got the sense of place and brings people down to downtown Springfield. I think the question that is not an OB question, but the question for staff, long term, we are going to have to work on parking in downtown and just try to, we've got a couple of people that are really interested in really great opportunities, but just trying to understand when we kick that conversation off would probably help us with, broader community groups to know that we're tracking it. The first big development out of the gate isn't going to create the issue. It's going to be about the third one we hit. But this is a really good space, and I heard the Christmas parade, right? That's one thing that you have the perfect frontage for, is to watch the Christmas parade.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Commissioner Lovell?
Thank you, Chair. I would probably have to disclose some sort of a conflict here. I have an adjoining piece of property that's just on the other side of the street, but I think I can dream without having any conflicts here with the rest of you. I think being the last one here to talk, obviously all the good topics have been already suggested, which I think are really great. I embrace all of them. I'm really excited about Commissioner Rodley's idea of the condos. I think that's a really great idea. I also think the event space is something sorely needed. We don't have anything here that can have 60 people or more at a table. The caboose over at the Chamber of Commerce is about all we have. Also, the Chamber of Commerce is long-term looking for a space about 7,500 square feet. I'm not sure if there's some partnerships that could be looked at for there, but this might be a good space to try to maybe run that at the flagpole and see how it sounds. Couple of concerns I have. I know that there's a very large mural on the west side of the Art Center. And having a mural on the side of one of our buildings, I know the challenges ahead for some of the comments and the procedures that you may have dealing with that. So I want to put that out there too. And I also think that part of being all of the ideas come hub together within Springfield, like you said, there's a very unique and specific spot that is bookended by two very significantly important historical buildings in downtown Springfield. The museum was once the hub where all the power came into. That was the power station that bridged over the railroad tracks from Booth Kelly. So that's got a pretty significant historical value. The old museum or the Art Center store was where I was a clerk at Gerlach's Camera Store when I was 15. And I started my job the day that Emporium burned to the ground. I rolled up and there was fire trucks. So I remember that day very well. So I think in respect to the property, we're going to have to also kind of look at how it fits into the architecture of Springfield. Like you said, Brian, when you pointed out that the 5-story building across the street was something that you didn't want to build, I was really excited to hear that, because I think that going forward, I know some of the companies that I've worked with are their respect is to give a respect to the historical nature and the quaintness of downtown. I think that is a draw in itself that people really don't realize, is that, you know, as you looked at downtown Eugene, when all of us were younger in the 60s, they thought bulldozing all the cool historic buildings in downtown and building these concrete slabs of ugliness was going to make it a futuristic city, and they've struggled ever since. So I really want to caution us as we move forward to really keep what makes Springfield attractive, and that's its quaintness.
Thank you, Commissioner Lovall. And I will actually be the last one to speak. Mr. Obi, I appreciate, this is a great thing. Every idea I've heard is really cool. I do have I was going to bring up, and Sean had already beat me to it, is that that's all fine and dandy, but you look at the picture of your Fifth Street Market and it's got large parking lots right up against it. And that's a huge concern. I would like to see how you would address, right? You're talking about drawing people downtown. Where are they going to park? And that's huge. And I think I would be more interested to see what the plan is for that before even entertaining, looking to see what could be built there. Because if you build something there and there's no place for them to park, I don't think it would be very successful. I do like the event center idea. I very much like Commissioner Lovell's statements in regards to the history of downtown. And downtown, one of our leading statements is we want to keep and maintain that hometown feel. And I can tell you that going to downtown Eugene, there's no hometown feel there at all. But what I do like is our old buildings, and I want to be able to help maintain that type of architecture that will complement those. Victoria talked about the traffic, which is a huge deal, that being interstate or Highway 126 business highway is a big deal with ODOT. But I just want to see what you folks come up with, but you've heard from the rest of the board, and they're across the board, so to speak, on all those different ideas. I like the condos, I like the event center, I like the potential farmers market. It's very exciting. I really look forward to hearing from you again with what you have come up with.
Thank you.
So, I got a hands up for Victoria. Go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to mention too, because normally you guys are talking about the parking, and we can't really compare it to Eugene, because Eugene is very spread out. You got West Eugene, you got South Eugene. Springfield it's not that tough. I mean, an Uber from Thurston to downtown is $9. So I don't know how much parking we actually would need. And that is something that we've been trying to encourage people to not do, is drive. So we have this new bike path that is all the way from 32nd and actually further from Jasper all the way to downtown to Booth Kelly. So there are a lot of options that aren't driving. So I'm just saying, I don't know that that's as big of a deal as it would be in Eugene.
We recognize it's a hot issue for many people for many reasons.
Yes.
And certainly with our own developments, it's key understanding what the demand and need is. It doesn't do any good if no one can come there. So we very much appreciate those comments so far, and I've already started chatting with staff that see how we might crack that nut, so to speak, figure it out. Yeah.
I'll note
Yep.
that the two items that came up as concerns, the mural and the parking, those are part of the city's due diligence in the ENA with OB companies. So we're already looking into those items.
That's good. I see, was it Beth? Somebody had- Michelle, is that you?
No, Commissioner Lovell.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's- If we can take this share screen off and bring the meeting back up for full screen, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm just thinking ahead of time, just for planning, you know, Seth, for some of the ideas that you might want to percolate. Perhaps we could think about some event, and I know the Christmas parade's too soon, but I could see if there's some event that would be going on in downtown Springfield. I could see us pitching a big white tent in the middle of that parking lot and having an open forum for the community to come together with maybe, you know, some guy entertaining for 5 minutes and then Brian and you speaking, and then some opportunity for people to actually feel the space and generate some ideas from that venue. I think that would be really valuable for the community.
Thank you, Commissioner. We actually did that on the corner of Pearl and Sixth for 5 weekends, I believe it was, 5 Fridays. And got the neighbors and what have you. And it's a great process. And people, it's a buy-in. I would like to talk a minute about the parking. The market started 47 years ago, and we have yet to build any parking. We are going to build some, and we have about 800 to 900 parking spaces, but they're all surface. It's also the least expensive parking that you can buy, and it can also be developed into something maybe more intense or more climate friendly as our world turns, if you will, as things change. And as I see both the parking underneath this structure, and I see, you know, over this way, I think Chambers property that's empty at where the project that didn't work is. There's a lot of surface around here, and it could be that CETA needs to buy some of that, make an investment in it. And we'll never get parking any cheaper than at the surface. And then you got that to perhaps develop on at a later time. So it's just something we all need to think about. And we actually use Lake County's parking that we take advantage of nights and weekends, and we got a very reasonable lease. Thank you, Commissioner, with the county that in like Thanksgiving weekend, we'll have that parking for 4 days. Now that's the opening of obviously the shopping season, what have you, and that's a big help. And that's right across 6th Avenue, and we got parking under here that probably on the weekend not used, during the night it's not used, and so and it does. People living in an apartment house to some extent contraflow to the people working in that neighborhood too. We've found, so how you get overlap on the parking and work through that process is important. I don't think it requires building a lot of structures. It requires managing that effort for sure, and it'll never be enough. And that's one thing we say in the market, it's a good problem when we don't have enough parking because we get enough customers. And I really appreciate the comments on the incubator, and it's something we believe in, and it's close to all of us, I think. And if you get in the alley and on one side next to Nike, we created those small spaces, and they are really working well. And there are people out there that need those spaces, and the community loves it because of the variety that is there. So it really has worked out in many respects. And I think that the opportunity to do that is certainly present here. The opportunity to maybe combine some type of amphitheater that with a farmer's market in the base of it, or entertainment area. And it's something we have, and I presume this is recorded, and we will take this. We've got notes, but we want to take this, and I want to, when we find the right architect, we want them to listen in on this and really get the flavor here. But that's it. You take all these thoughts and you know, whether it's connecting the museum and the art and the parking and in the street, and the thoughts that come out here, it's all right there. It really is all right there. And then find how do we put that together?
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. We have another agenda item that we're going to need to get to. So unless there's anything else, we appreciate you being here very much. Appreciate the information, and I can probably honestly say we're all very excited to see what's next.
Well, thank you, and appreciate your indulging us tonight, and we will be on our way because we don't have to stay. All right.
Well, we're just collecting the big paychecks, Brian.
I know you guys got it paid over here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Next item, Neil.
Next item is new business number 2, system development charges, STC program, and Ally Camp is here for this item.
Hi, City Board members. We are here today to talk about the costs of the program, the STC program, and if and how it performs moving forward. The STC program administered by CETA was brought into effect by a resolution in 2013. That's included in your packet as attachment 1. The program was originally to be administered for a 1-year period from July 1, 2013 to June 30, 2014. The program has continued to be administered since, which means that we have an amount due to pay for this program's administration over the last 9.5 fiscal years. That amount due is roughly $1.9 million. So CETA has paid the STCs for the eligible projects. The costs due are to reimburse the city of Springfield. There were 2 projects that did not meet the eligibility outlined in the resolution that I just want to note for you. They're also in that period of time that the program was operating without the resolution. So I have a couple of asks of you tonight to think about how you would like to proceed with the costs due to the city. And I'm happy to break for discussion because I'm going to get into like a second portion of STC program stuff too. I don't know what would be best for you all.
So hopefully folks have had a chance to take a look at this material. Is there any upfront questions any of the board members have of Ally in regards to the STC program? Okay. And you have more information, Ally?
Yeah, thank you. So second up, this is an opportunity to consider the resolution moving forward if you would like to extend it. Also, since we're talking about the extension of resolution, this is an opportunity for you to think about the effectiveness of the program and if you'd like to do anything to change it at this point in time. Your board briefing memo has a lot of data in it. My goal was to try and find a way to measure the effectiveness of the program for you all to understand how this investment in infrastructure has impacted the 2 urban renewal districts, both Glenwood and Springfield. I won't get into a lot of the details with it, but I do want to note that property tax growth related to investments, it's not a perfect science. We can't immediately see that an investment in FY 2013 shows up in 2014 because of the time that projects take and because of ebbs and flows with the tax base from other programs that we have. I really want to call out chart 3 in the packet because that measures the investment in the building or the site infrastructure, and if that use is still in use, which means that those CETA dollars administered in the STC program are still being utilized today. All of the addresses still have occupancy or still using that use, so that's a good demonstration of the effectiveness of the program. Okay, so in addition to discussing the costs due to the city, I want to make sure that we address extension of the program and any additional parameters or considerations you'd like to see if the program is extended.
So, Ally, these charts are very informative, although I think it would be to the benefit of all the board members, especially ones that that are new on the board, where our STC investment, or I should say our CETA investments have been, what type of financial advantage the STC waivers have been, and basically where's the money gone, what's it gone to, and the different types of financing, such as straight up loans or cash assistance, the STC waivers, that type of thing. I think it would be really beneficial for the board members to have that information. I know there's been a few board members that have asked about that. And there's been several comments about that. So I think I'd like to direct staff to research that and bring that back to the board. Thank you.
Would you
Um,
like for
yeah.
the program year moving forward?
Actually, since inception. I know it's a big ask, but I think it's very important. I think it would be very educational, and I think it'd help board members to make a more informed decisions so they have a historical perspective of this agency. And then with that, I think then we can move on to this board to see where you folks are sitting in regards to those 3 questions that Ally has put to us, what type of direction we want to give her. Go ahead, Sean.
I want to keep doing it because it's a fantastic program. And so let's start with the easy one first. I think I know that is a recurring program. We definitely need to, drive certainty, right? That we're going to do this for a long time. I think we need to do it for at least 5 years, and extend it another 5 years. Just to be very, very clear with the development community that this is something that we care about and that we're investing in downtown Springfield and Glenwood. I could be okay going even longer than that, but we need to have that defined sort of, one point when we're coming back and reevaluating it. And I don't know that there's anything I would in particular add to the program. Like, I feel like it's run well. When I read the resolution, I didn't feel like we were, missing something. It's simple and straightforward and works really well.
Okay, Sean, thanks. Anyone else? I'll go ahead and throw mine in. I think we had to go ahead and approve payment for our past dues, what we owe the city, and get that taken care of. I think I agree completely with Sean. I think it's a great program. I think it needs to be extended for at least 5 years. I think that's even a little bit modest in my older brain. I think 5 years is a pretty short period of time, especially when you're talking about construction, right? You got a project, Dave, it's like what, you start a project and how many years before your shovel hits the ground, and then how much time after that since it can be actually, approved for occupancy. I think 5 years is pretty short. I'd be fine with 10. I don't see, it's a good program. I don't see the huge risk. And then I don't think we should change it. I think if it's not broke, why try to fix it? So that's my stance. I'd really like to hear if anybody else, if other board members agree or not. Steve, go ahead.
You got to remember, the purpose of urban renewal is to invest in the community now at a loss, unfortunately, because in the future, it's going to generate a lot higher tax revenues for us. It's going to pay us back. It's going to take a long time, but it's going to come back. So we're going to do what we can do to keep it going and stimulate it.
So you support the program, Steve?
Yes.
Dave, go ahead. I got your hands.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, one more time, I may have a conflict with this, but I don't think I do, but I need to voice that anyway. But I agree with Councilor Moe. Based on the experience I know of a particular development company, all the investments that have been put forth in SDCs are typically paid back within a 10-year period. And then, like Councilor Moe said, after that 10-year period, it's gravy. You just keep getting the tax revenue. So I think it's a worthwhile program. I think especially today in a hostile lending environment, it's even more critical to have that incentive for at least the conversation to happen for development. And then lastly, I think just as my position as a county commissioner, I think I would like to see the city board and the city of Springfield put pressure on the county to participate better in that program. Just from personal experience, I've seen how the city has done a great job of supporting small business and development in downtown, and I've seen the county do a rather poor job at that. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, and thank you. Sounds like an open invite, so I'm okay with that. I think that may be appropriate. We'll have to chat about that at some point. Right, Nancy? Sounds good. Anyone else, any other board member have any input in regards? Perfect. Ally, do you have direction? It sounded pretty clear.
I do. I think I have what I need.
Can I ask a really dumb
Oh.
question?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
You say you're gonna pay back the system development treasurer. Are you writing a check to the city?
I'm
Is
not-
that what happens? I don't understand what you mean when you're paying it back. Like,
That's what will need to happen. So
so basically the project was charged the SDCs and then CETA pays those SDCs to the system
Right.
development. Be it sub or they pay all of them then.
they pay the SDC fees in the city
Just
jurisdiction.
the city jurisdiction. Okay, so they still have to pay Willamette Lane, they still have to pay sub, okay.
HMDs.
And so
Right.
what you're talking about coming back with a resolution is to pay the public works or whoever.
Right.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
So
And I think it's really cool that the stat that you said that every single one of those buildings is still filled. That right there says it all to me, that it's being successful. That was rad. So.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, any other comments? Perfect. So you know what I'm gonna do right now? I think I'm gonna call for adjournment. If you guys don't mind. Okay, this meeting is now adjourned.
We're 40 minutes.
Now we gotta go to,
Executive session.
No, one more.
we got one, yeah, well, but we have to leave. I have to leave this and come back, so I'll be right back.